What's up, Through the Waves? Thank you so much for coming back for an all-new episode. And for those of you who don't know who we are, you can check us out at Through the Waves Florida on Instagram or throughthewaves.com or Through the Waves on Facebook. And today we have a special guest, Tim.
Hello.
And I know Tim. We used to train together at the gym. I actually met him at BFit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. I started out training him, and it was really cool. I feel like we got to develop a relationship through that.
Yeah, definitely. You were my favorite trainer.
What?
By far. Yeah, oh yeah.
No, what? You just say that to everyone.
No. Seriously, I would look forward to Tuesdays.
Nice.
Yeah, that whole place was great. But definitely I learned a lot from you. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you say you learned a lot from me because we do an icebreaker game. And today what I'm going to do is test him on his workout skills and what he really knows about the gym. So So get ready.
Okay.
I want to see how much you really learned from me.
Oh boy.
First question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Tim what part of the body these exercises work. You ready for this?
Hit me.
Okay. No lifelines either.
Okay.
Let's see. Which one do I want to start off with? Overhead press.
Overhead press. Shoulders.
Correct. Ding,
Oh,
ding,
yeah.
ding. See, I told you these are going to be easy.
All right.
Lat pull downs.
Those work out your lats.
I guess that one was like an easy giveaway. Okay. Bent over rows.
Bent over rows is going to work out your back. You want a specific part of your back?
If you got it.
Let me see. Bent over rows. Oh, shoot. What would the name of those be? Works out I guess your upper back. That's the best you're going to get out of me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'll take it.
Okay.
We were just talking about these. Your RDLs.
Romanian deadlifts.
Thank you
is what that's short
yeah.
for.
Thank you for saying the full term.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it works out similar to what a deadlift does, which is your mostly lower back, but also like your hamstrings and some of your legs too.
Yeah, and your glutes.
Oh, and your butt. Yep. I mean glutes. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, you did pretty good though. I would say that is probably enough. I'm trying to think if there's any more that I just want to like throw at you.
Come on, hit me with a hard one.
What about the Russian twist that we used to do?
Russian twist, obliques.
Yep. Hey.
Ooh, coming in hot.
Did you do those this morning, JR?
What?
Did you do those this morning?
They did. I cried.
I like them. I think they're fun.
He's been doing like a workout challenge in the morning.
Okay.
Where he does, what is it? You're doing 4 sets now?
Yeah, 4 sets of 50 push-ups. Hopefully they can hear this on the podcast.
50 push-ups.
50 push-ups. I do them on my knees.
Does them on his knees.
50 squats and 50 abs. So 4 sets of
Oh, just a power workout.
It's
huh?
a power cardio workout.
50 push-ups. Dude.
I did it today too while you were at work.
It works my tail.
I don't get up as early because I need caffeine and he does it without caffeine. I don't know how you do that.
Oh,
without
I
caffeine.
don't. I can't. No. Probably I do. I get tweaked on pre-workout before I go.
Yeah,
Before
did you-
I go to gym.
Did you used to bring pre-workout before you'd work out with me?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because there were some things I feel like I would make you do and I would like be like, I would never
Oh
do
no,
that.
I was like, I was 3 seconds in the future at all times.
Really?
Honestly. I had to because after work, when I work out in the sun like that, if I don't have pre-workout, I don't get a good workout. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, hopefully you're off work tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully
for this
That would be
hurricane.
nice. And hopefully the gym's open. That would be cool.
Yeah. Where are you working out now?
Still Planet Fitness. I'm kind of debating moving on. It's just hard to find a gym that's not crazy expensive. Everybody keeps telling me Crunch, which is, a good gym from what I've heard. It's just kind of far for me. But Planet Fitness has been all right for right now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like free weights, meaning like a barbell and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like a real bench press machine and stuff like that. They have the Smiths machine. But other than that, for most things, I don't think I'm to the point where I'm like maxing out every machine at that gym yet.
Yeah.
So I still got some work to do there.
Nice. One of the things I always tell everyone when I'm on the podcast is I always, for some reason, have to burp. So if you hear me burp in the microphone, it's
Okay.
just like
That's fine. That'll make me feel like I can burp too.
yeah. I mean, I always try to like pull back, but I always
No,
like
get
to,
in there close so they can hear it. What I have for lunch today.
I like to be transparent. But so going back to the exercises and the working out, I know that we kind of worked on like your deadlift a little bit when we were working out together. Are you still doing that? Or?
Yes.
Nice.
Mostly Romanian deadlifts because since they only have a Smith's machine at Planet Fitness, like, you can do them on a Smith's machine, but it's not the same. It just doesn't feel the same. So I like having the free dumbbells to do my deadlifts.
Yeah. You can do them with dumbbells too.
Right. So that's what I normally do my deadlifts with, is with dumbbells. I guess you're right. You could just do regular deadlifts. So I'll do kind of both. But yes, I've been doing things that prior to working out with you that I wasn't doing. So like squats, I've been doing a lot more of deadlifts. Like the big obvious ones I never did because I didn't really know how. I didn't know the proper form. And I always thought, like, I don't know. I wasn't built for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it turns out that I am. I just have to practice it and start with a low weight and stop thinking I'm Big Meech trying to squat 350 on my first try. It's just not going to happen.
Wait, did you really try to squat 350?
No, I'd fold.
Yeah. Anyone, I feel like, on their first try.
He looks like he could squat 350.
Solid.
he probably did back when he was playing football.
How much did you squat when you played football?
My best was 465.
465. Wait, for 8 sets?
For
8 reps, I mean.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Dang.
It was unhealthy.
Beast mode.
Yeah, seriously. Got some tree trunk legs.
But yeah, it's all about working on form and just like working up to it, you know, setting those PRs every week. And that's what I like to do. I've been having to like kind of modify my exercises the past year because I had a hip thing, which it feels like it's getting better. So it's good. I've been putting more weight and stuff on the bar, but it's not always about like how much you can do. It's cool to be like, yeah, I can lift this much, but it's all about like having good form and making sure you're getting like a good quality workout in, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I used to think, because I used to try to lift more than I actually could, trying to hit like this imaginary number that I thought would be like equate to some of my size, but I realized like none of that even really matters.
No.
I go to where Stephanie kind of guided me with that. She's the owner of the gym that we used to go to. And she said, you know, try doing 10 reps of a weight. She's like, if you can do 10 reps of a weight, so like, let's just say, for instance, if you're laying down, like pressing dumbbells, if you can do 10 reps of that weight, you could try to move up to the next weight.
Exactly.
Right. And then if you fail doing 10, stay at that weight until you hit 10 and then go. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I don't go for PRs, mainly because Planet Fitness is not built for dropping PRs. You don't really have.
You'll get the lunk alarm.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, don't even get me started. The lunk alarm is the stupidest thing that's ever been invented, but I won't rant about that. But yeah, so I've been working on, so I got a log that she actually ordered for me from Amazon, and now I log all of my exercises, and it's been helpful because now I can go back and see, okay, what did I do last week? All right, so I did this. So let me try to up it, see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll stay here until it does. And definitely been helping. Definitely been helping a lot. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I always use that same technique. Like I'll either work in the 8 to 10 rep range, or if you're trying to lift heavy, you can work in like the 4 to 6 rep range. So like with deadlifts or squats or military press, when you're really trying to go up and kind of max out, what was it called? Failure. I said that weird. You can work in like those lower rep ranges.
Right.
So you're not like killing yourself, because obviously you're going to failure. It's harder to go to failure with 8 to 10 reps, you know?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I'm still getting tips from you. Thank you.
You're welcome. But go kind of diving in here. Let's talk a little bit about why you joined BFit.
Okay.
And your whole process with that, because that is like one of the main reasons that I wanted to have you on, because I just saw like all of your progress through there and how hard you worked. And I mean, I think one thing that people can learn from you is that a lot of people just want things like this, like so easy. And you had to put in work from like where you started to where you are now.
Right.
And like you did it, you overcame everything. So just kind of talk about like your journey through BFit and why you did that.
Sure. I mean, it all ties together, like the physical part of it and then the spiritual side of it, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But basically, like when I was about to turn 25, a couple months prior, when I was 24, I just kind of sat back and looked at my life, and I was like, man, what do you have going on? I was like, what are you doing? You're not working towards anything necessarily. I mean, I had a decent job and I did good. I did good at that. But other than that, I had nothing really going for me. And it's like 25, you're halfway through your 20s. Like, it's getting real, dude. So you need to start. you need to start making changes, man, a little bit at a time, because it's not all going to happen overnight. Like, just like you said.
Yeah.
So, you know, the first and most obvious thing for me, well, there was two. The first was my spiritual side of it. I was like, I need to start getting back into the church and talking to God more. And then the other half of it was, I wasn't happy physically. I wasn't obese or in terrible shape or extremely unhealthy, but I was just like, there was nothing there. I didn't really have anything to show for myself. So, but I wasn't really sure how to go about it. You know, I looked up stuff online. I went on YouTube. But there's so much from so many different sources, and it's just like system overload. So I was like, let me try going in and getting a trainer and having them, guide me. So that was the thought process that started it. I showed up, and I'll never forget the first night after my first workout. It was with Stephanie, and I went out and puked afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't take it seriously, because I ate like Doritos for lunch or something that
Really?
day. Oh yeah. I was like, it's not gonna be that hard. And I ate Doritos for lunch and didn't drink enough water. And I did the workout, and I go outside, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh. You're
And
right.
then
Like, never again.
I was like, okay, time to take it serious. So
Yeah.
from that moment on, like anything she told me, I did it to a T as best as I could. And I obviously got better at it and progressed. But so that was my thought process. You know, I wanted to get in better shape. Didn't have really a concrete goal necessarily. I just knew that I wanted to get in better shape and make progress physically speaking. And because I wanted to feel better. It all came from me just kind of being in this doom and gloom mood, not really happy with myself, and I wanted to make efforts to change that. So that was part of it, was getting in shape and working on myself, and it really has worked. I mean,
because I feel like obviously working out and losing weight doesn't only affect like your appearance and your physical.
Oh.
It affects your mental.
Way more so.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing, is like they go hand in hand. Your mind and your body are like one machine that works together.
Yeah.
And if one is suffering, you'll know the other, will show. So once I started, working out and working on myself physically, my mentality just skyrocketed. I would wake up with more energy. I felt better.
So good.
I just was way more positive. I felt better about my life. Like all of a sudden, all the things I thought were bad, I was like, this ain't so bad. I was like, this life's pretty good. You know what I mean? So that was why I did it, and I've been sticking to it pretty good. I've been logging everything, and I'm still going and doing the nutrition thing. That's like still like the accountability, because if I show up and my everything starts to shrink, she'll know like, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like accountability for me.
It's good to have that though.
Yeah, definitely I needed it.
And you're still doing your workouts outside of the gym now, but just doing
that's the only
nutrition.
place I do them. Yeah, I just go in and I do the nutrition. So I'm logging my food still.
Yeah.
And I got like a calorie protein tracker app thing that I enter every single meal. That is irritating.
What app do you use?
MyFitnessPal.
Okay, that one's pretty easy though.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's nice because once you log something once, you can just go back in and it's already there.
It saves
So
it.
and I don't have a huge variety in what I eat. So a lot of times I can just take whatever I ate yesterday and just move it over, and there you go.
Yeah, and if you go out to eat, I feel like a lot of restaurants like have their stuff in there.
Most of them do,
Yeah.
especially like if you go to like fast food. Like I got no trouble finding the Junior Cheeseburger Deluxe on that app. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only thing that was hard for me when I was doing MyFitnessPal was Chipotle, because it's like very PC.
Right.
You can't just go and order one thing. Like you're like, I got this, I got guac, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like for the most part, it's pretty easy.
I mean, and it's just there to give you a general idea.
Yeah.
You know what you're eating. So,
Yeah.
if you didn't log something, that you can factor in probably a few extra 100 calories or whatever in your mind. But it lets me know like, hey, I'm staying within this general range of calories. It may be a little 100 to 200 more or less, but and that's helped a lot too, because before I was still losing weight even when I was trying to bulk up, and I was like,
Are you still in that bulking process? Because I think you were doing that when I was leaving, right?
Yeah, I still am. It's slow.
Okay.
I think it's a combination of just how many calories I burn. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much about this.
No, this is good, because a lot of people struggle with
Yeah.
this type of thing,
Yeah.
like staying on track and staying consistent. And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because you've stayed consistent with it since like what, April now?
April. That's
Okay.
when I started. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's awesome, because like you're like the person that people need to look at when they're trying to stick to something. They're like, oh, it's not going to work,
Yeah.
because Like if you
It's all here. If there's anyone who's like struggling with it, it's all up here because the wanting to not go to the gym is this. It's your mind. It's you know, you had a long day or whatever, or not wanting to eat the right food. It's all up here. So if you can train this, your body will kind of follow suit. And I don't mean to sound like, you know, like I'm like a professional at it. By no means. It's been a slow journey for me, and like little things are starting to like stick every week, little bits. So I'm just now finally starting to understand like how to eat to where I'm eating enough, you know, of like all the major things like carbs, protein, calories, like all that stuff that you have to balance out. And I'm a big dude, so like just existing burns a lot of calories. And I do AC, so I'm sweating all day. That burns a lot of calories. So then, you know, I'm trying to make up for it at night. And it's just been like me trying to find my like my level, like the right level to be at, and my good pattern. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey. But I've been enjoying it, and
That's
I feel
good.
like honestly, this year, 25, has been the best year I've had in a long time.
wow.
So I'm hoping it just, you know, kind of keeps getting better as long as I keep sticking at it.
Do you think you'll ever want to become like a trainer from this experience? Maybe like a career change in the future?
You know, I won't rule it out, but I can't look at myself honestly and say like, yeah, you're ready for that, dude. Like, no way.
But maybe one day down
maybe
the road.
one day.
I
Maybe-
never saw myself being a trainer.
Yeah, maybe one day.
I just kind of took the test and was like, oh, whatever. I don't know if I'll actually even like do it. And then I ended up doing it, and I still am, you know, and it's not anything I actually thought I would ever do.
Right. Like in my mind, I know this isn't the case, but in my mind, I'm like, dude, you have to be able to pass Navy SEAL training in order to be like a trainer. Like, what do you look at you, dude? Like, come on. You know? But I have like this, I think most people probably have this, but I have like an angry football coach. You can probably know what this is like. I have like an angry football coach side of me that whenever I like don't want to do something, it's like, you get out there and you just do it. Stop being a wuss. And but that voice also will tell me like, you can't be a trainer. What are you talking about? Look at you.
Yeah.
You can't be a trainer until you could do 250 push-ups with one arm and all this stuff. And so it's like a conflicting voices in my head, I guess you could say sometimes. But to answer your question, I wouldn't rule it out. If it feels right, I might do that one day. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the times, point of Through the Waves, is God uses our waves or things that we go through for our life, for the future. And so for me, like I struggled with my weight when I was younger, and then I ended up being a trainer, you know? So it's like, I feel like a lot of things we struggle with end up becoming our purpose.
He works in funny ways like that, doesn't he? He's like, oh, just you wait and see. You have no idea.
Exactly. And well, going back to what you said about, you know, like you have that football coach voice where it's like, you got this, do this, blah, blah. Yeah. But then that same voice will tell you, you don't got this, like, don't do this. It's funny because I've been doing this freedom course with Journey Church, and it's like a 12-week course, and you go and like you get freedom from it, from certain things that are holding you back in life. And one of the things that my coach said was, for every truth that God has in life, the devil has a counterfeit.
Right.
And so I feel like going back to what you said is like you have that voice of like you can do it, that other voice of like you can't do it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times it's like the enemy trying to discourage us and be like, what God has for you, like, oh no, you're not good enough for that.
Deception.
Yeah.
That's like he's the master of that. So that's why you always have like the good and the bad thoughts and all. Yeah. So that's definitely true. And you got to be careful which one you listen to. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
So kind of talking about that, do you have like a lot of people have a life verse or a verse that they relate to or anything in the Bible that you kind of go to in times like that?
The only one that I've never been good. I went to a Christian, a Baptist private school when I was a kid, from pre-K to fourth. Mm-hmm. And we had Bible classes, and I had to memorize all the books of the Bible and all these Bible verses. And I forgot so many of them, but Jeremiah 29:11, which is like a super generic one. But
that used to be my life verse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's my life verse, but it's one that when I'm like really feeling bummed out, that I go to, you know, because even though it's like kind of cliche of a Bible verse, it really is it's a great verse. I'm gonna screw it up because now I'm on a podcast, but for I know the plans I have for you, plans for you to prosper, not to harm you, and to give you life and happiness or something like this.
Peace in the future. I don't know. There's different versions, so you could have said a correct
It's something
version.
to that
Yeah.
extent, but basically when I think like, oh, dude, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is going on? I always just think like somewhere there's an omnipotent being who created me and created everything that I know. And he's telling me, dude, I got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. So,
Yeah.
that would be my life verse, I suppose.
Nice. So, what do you feel like, if you feel like sharing,
Yeah.
are the biggest waves that you've faced in your life, whether it's fighting off like a mental thought, or if it's something that's consistent that's happened throughout your life, or something that you've overcome and you want to share and kind of encourage others to get through the same thing?
Waves. Yeah. Been a lot of those. I don't know about any specific one, but I can say I struggled. So I'll preface this by saying I grew up in a Christian household.
Yeah.
So both my parents were Christian. I went to Christ Fellowship when I was from like a toddler on. And, I was never like against it. I was always like, all right, well, this seems good. And my parents say it's right. But eventually you have to grow up and decide for yourself what you really believe. But anyway, so when I was in high school, as a lot of kids do at that age, you kind of get distracted with things that are going on, like getting ready for college or people of the opposite sex or whatever the case is. So when I was like 19, it started getting really bad for me. I definitely had some waves, I guess you could say. I was doing a lot. I was only worried about having fun. So I was like, for fun for me was going out with, I called them friends at the time, but they really weren't friends. They were just people who also shared in the same pursuits of the flesh, I guess you could say, as I did, and worldly desires. So when I was 19, I basically hit rock bottom, and then for the next few years, I struggled a lot with just having any type of direction to my life. I was just like, I was doing drugs, and I was just kind of being a lazy, I'm sorry, I just kind of look off when I talk sometimes.
Okay.
I'm just like trying to remember what was going on then. So I guess a big wave for me was struggling with like my identity and like who like what am I supposed to be doing? It didn't feel obvious. Like some people, they're like at 15, they're like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And then
was never my life. Either.
Me neither. I had no idea. Everybody was already pissed at me for not being in the NBA. So I was like, other than that, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. So my waves was trying to figure out who I was, and I struggled real bad. I mean, I never denied God or like, said I don't believe in him or anything like that, but I definitely wasn't serving him in any way. And I wasn't reading my Bible. So for like, there's like probably a 4 or 5 year period, basically up until what I was saying, when I started to decide like I need to start turning my life around.
Yeah.
That I was just kind of lost.
When you started training?
Yeah, about when I started training. That's why I said they tie together, because the training and the spiritual side of it happened at a similar time. Like 25 for me. I don't know why, but that number, I was like,
get your
25.
Shit.
Yeah.
I just cursed on you.
It was her, not me. The host said that.
I mean, it happens.
We're
okay,
adults
guys.
here. We're adults.
Forgive me.
So I feel like I'm just rambling on, but basically, the waves I had were struggling to maintain my relationship with God. And because of that, my life suffered. There was no denying that. I was lost. I was pursuing things of the world which were getting me nowhere. That I think a big wave I had was when I got kicked out of my mom's house. Yeah, they found like a bowl or something in a backpack I had, and I kind of took that, and instead of being like, man, you messed up, you should probably get it right, I was kind of like bitter about it. Yeah, and I was like, what? I was like, what's the big deal?
Are they like really like strict?
My mom was. My mom was like the most straight edge. She's a teacher. In my lifetime, I've never even seen her taste alcohol before.
Really?
Ever, once. Yes.
Wow.
And according to her, she's never tried any type of drug ever, and I believe her. So that was like a big no-no in my house. And
are you guys cool?
Oh, yeah, it's all good now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good now. But at the time, it was rough.
And you're like, why would you kick me out? Right?
Yeah,
because it's your mom.
Yeah, well, I'm like, why would you? The way she was reacting, you'd think I had like a crack pipe or something. Like she was really just throwing a fit. But listen,
to be fair, she never tried drugs. So
I know, so she has no frame of reference. She
pipe.
doesn't know what it's like, and also it's her house. So, that's really what it came down to.
Yeah.
If those are your rules, those are your rules. So, yeah, I've definitely had wishy-washy, but even in the lowest point, I always knew. I never blamed God for anything.
Mm-hmm.
I never looked up like, why are you doing this to me? Because I always knew like I'm doing this to me. It's not you. It was the pain of knowing that I was doing it to me and that God could help me and still choosing not to, go that route. But eventually you get a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I guess. And I was like, all right, well, it's not too late, I could still get it. So I have no idea if that answered your question whatsoever.
No.
But
so you think it was just like mental shift in like your relationship with God that kind of drew you out of that season in your life to where you're like, okay, I need to really seek him like wholeheartedly. Like what was it that caused that like switch?
Well, it kind of tapered down. So I stopped really trying. I stopped really like doing a lot of parties and drugs and stuff like that. And I kind of went into like a hermit crab mode where I would just go to work and then go home, go to work and then go home.
Yeah.
And that was better for a while. It was better than what I was doing. But then I realized like, well, now I'm just doing nothing. I'm not doing anything at all. I'm not working on myself physically or spiritually. So yeah, for some reason, I guess it was probably God finally like, getting through my thick skull. That like, listen, you're not getting any younger, and you should start working on this stuff while you can. Both, going to the gym like we keep talking about, but also going back to church, being around people my age, sharing stories with them. That's why I like the youth group so much because church is great. Like I love going to church. I go with my mom on Sundays sometimes to the Royal Palm campus they have there. But the youth group was nice because you could sit down and just talk with people that are around your age and that may be going through similar things that you are, and everybody's going through something. And just having a place where, it's kind of like free therapy, you can go and just get stuff out that you would never tell like someone like at work or something, you know what I mean?
No one at work.
And necessarily, it depends what job you have, but I mean, like typically speaking.
Do you have people around you at work that you're close to?
Not like that. I mean, I'm close with a couple of I really only have one older guy that I work with that I would consider myself close with.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get into like the deep interweaving parts of my life and my soul and stuff like that. I'm pretty close to my dad.
Yeah.
He's like who I go to when I need to talk about anything regarding, the Bible or spirituality or God or anything, because he was always there when I was a little kid. He used to be up reading his Bible every morning real early, like 5:36 in the morning.
Dang, that's commitment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a great Christian. He's a great man. And I'd get up and I'd go and I'd just like sit next to him. He'd be drinking his coffee and I would just like throw a million questions at him, just like all about the Bible.
I thought you were going to say you threw like Fruit Loops at him.
Yeah. Make me some breakfast, Dad. Put the Bible down. But yeah, so the church youth group has been great, and I like my little group of people. I made a couple friends.
You got to have that like fellowship, those people to hold you accountable.
Yeah,
and keep you on track.
And just it doesn't sound like much when you say it, but like there's a lot of nights, especially when I first started going. I didn't want to go. I'd be like tired from work. It's Thursday night. I only got and Thursdays I worked out at the BFit too, so I would have to wake up early, work all day, then go work out, then cram something down my face, and then go to church, and then come home and go to sleep. So, but then I realized, like, okay, well, you went to church, you got something out of it, you got to listen to the message, you got to pray, you got to be around people, and then that's better than what you would have been doing. What would you have been doing? Like nothing. You would have went home and then ate, and then like watched a movie. Like, what did you really gain from that?
Yeah.
So yeah, the Thursday nights youth group is really nice. I like it.
What do you feel like you've gained from like deepening your relationship with God and like having fellowship with all these people now and like going out and doing these and like forcing yourself, even like you said when you were tired, to go to like a youth group or whatever?
What have I gained? I feel like I've gained I've gained a closer relationship with God. I feel like it flows a little bit more naturally when I pray to Him, when I talk to Him. It just feels like I can almost hear Him speak back sometimes.
Good.
I feel like, well, I mean, just my overall how I feel every day has improved. And it's not just because of, part of it was the physical side of it, but spiritually, I just feel better when I wake up. I feel like there's less weight on me.
Yeah.
I feel like I have someone to talk to when I need to, being God. I feel like I've also gained some friends, at church. Like I've gained, tangible people that I've hung out with and spent time
You want to
with.
give anybody a shout out?
Oh yeah, Harrison, you're the man, and also you're the only friend I've ever had that's taller than me. So congratulations.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's 7 foot.
If Harrison wants to come on the podcast, tell him to hit us up.
Oh, yeah, well, I'll send him the link. You can watch it.
What's up, Harrison?
What's up, Harry?
You're invited.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I'm still in it, and some weeks are kind of like you said, they're like waves. Like some weeks maybe I'll feel kind of down.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of things. I think that's just kind of natural, but also the enemy will try to. The closer you get with God,
Yep.
the more the enemy will try to tear you away from Him because all of this is a battle of souls, really.
Yeah.
It's what this is. It's like you got heaven up here and you got the kingdom of God and righteousness, and then you got just the dirty down low scumbag Satan down here.
Yeah.
And then here's earth, which is God's creation, and they both want your souls. And because we have free will, we have the choice to go either way. So when I think of it like that, which is what it really is it's who are you pledging allegiance to? And where do your honors lie? I want to be on the right side.
Yeah.
I want to be on the side about love and care and compassion and forgiveness and all these things that I think are very important. And the ways of the world are really not about any of those things. Some people, you may meet people in life that are not necessarily Christians, but they're still nice.
Yeah,
they're all
they're
about
good
that.
people.
And I truly believe, like, if someone, even if let's just say like an atheist does something truly selfless and kind and loving towards someone else,
Yeah.
that God looks at them and smiles. Like,
Oh.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be a Christian to do something that God would approve of necessarily. But I don't even remember what the question was now. I've just been talking.
No, it's okay. We were talking about what you gained
Oh,
from.
what I gained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've gained a lot, like your relationship with Christ, your friends, just everything all around, your mental health, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. I've just felt way better.
And one thing I want to touch on, speaking of gain, like how you gained all of these things, I feel like a lot of people, when they are new Christians, they are kind of afraid to become a Christian or like are hesitant to even learn about it because they feel like with maybe like the Old Testament or the way it used to come across is like you were losing things. Like God was just condemning you of all of these things, but
Yeah.
God doesn't condemn us, He convicts us.
That's true. I mean, you may lose things, meaning, certain ways of life that you're used to or certain things you like to do that are not necessarily in line with what God wants, you may lose. And so that's kind of where it gets tough because it's not like it's just all, it's not just a walk in the park necessarily. A lot of times you're like, man, your temptations will pull at you and you have to fight those. I did, like I said, I came from a Christian background, so I don't really know what it's like to come at it without any knowledge at all because I had a lot of the themes and stories and parts of the Bible kind of embedded in there so that they never really went away. But I mean, all I could say is that if you are trying or thinking about, wanting to pursue being a Christian and having faith, and here's what I would say: build a relationship with God first. Worry about the religion side of it
Yes.
later.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
It's about the
because
relationship.
religion is, listen, I'm all for Christianity and going to church and everything. I really am. But the Bible specifically, and really most importantly, God is the most important thing. If you can get get a good relationship going with God, all that other stuff will come later. But religion is where things get kind of sticky because there's been lots of wars and this and that
Yeah.
fought over my religion's better than yours. Your religion is stupid. At the end of the day, we're all trying to pray to God, right? Now it's, I believe that Christianity and Jesus is the only true story. But with that being said, if you're like on the fence about it, or if you're thinking I want to, try to talk to God, but I don't know how, just pray to God. Just call him God and just talk to him. There's no right way to do it.
Yeah. That's good. I like that because it really comes down to it being the relationship. It's not all about the religion and all the stuff that's in the book, that people have set up in the past. It's more about the relationship.
It's all about the relationship. I mean, the other stuff can be important too, but like the foundation is God, and that's where it has to start. Because you can be the most expert Christian scholar in the world, but if you don't have a relationship with God, it doesn't mean anything. Exactly. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And that's all he wants, is he wants us to want him and to
he's
love
basically
him.
like, it's like he's like a father. I mean,
He
there's
is
a
our
reason why
father.
he's the father. He's like a dad with unlimited patience. You know what I mean? I mean, you can screw up so bad. So bad.
I wish he was my physical dad when I wanted my dad to take me to Chick-fil-A when I was younger.
Oh, he'd take you to Chick-fil-A every time. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I like to think I had a really good dad who was very loving and patient and taught me a lot of things. And as much as I love my dad, I can take that and amplify it by a million, and you have God. I mean, that he is just endless love and forgiveness. And as long as you mean it, because he knows what's in your heart. Mm-hmm. So as long as you mean it and you apologize and you ask for forgiveness when you mess up, he will always forgive you.
Always.
And we really don't deserve it. None of us. Nobody
1,000%.
does. I was just talking about this with my group at church the other night. I was like, I mean, the concept is crazy. You hear it a lot, especially if you're raised in the church, of Jesus died on the cross for our sins so that we can be forgiven. And you hear it over and over. But you got to really think about what that means. Basically, it means that every single human being that has ever walked the earth and will ever walk the earth is not 100% pure. You sin, you make mistakes, you do things wrong. Mm-hmm. Jesus was the only one that was perfect, meaning he never, ever sinned. And he died. He was put to death for it. Not just put to death, but put to death in one of the most horrific and cruel ways possible. Yeah. And that's the whole story. I mean, that's the most important part, is that he died so that we wouldn't all just burn and rot in hell. I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but that's kind of like what's going on. So yeah, we should definitely be thanking him. Mm-hmm. And he's just, God's incredible.
Yeah. 1,000%. So what is something that you would say, or some advice that you would give to somebody who is going through a wave and they feel like they want to give up, or they feel like it's just never going to go away?
It will go away. Mm-hmm. The only way it won't go away is if you completely embrace it and just say, I'm done, and just throw your life away. That's the only way it won't go away. If you're going through a wave, my main advice, and this is going to sound very cliche, but you should pray. You should pray, because I've noticed that whenever I'm going through something tough, or even if I just need advice on something, if I say a prayer and you really take the time and say a prayer and have some alone time with God, you'd be surprised at the kind of results that you'll see. Mm-hmm. And it's funny sometimes how they manifest themselves. They don't necessarily manifest themselves in ways that you would see coming. If you're going through a wave, that's part of life. Everyone, Christian or not, goes through waves. There's not a single person, there's not a single human being that's ever lived that has not, even if you think, because social media and stuff, you look at people like, their life is so amazing. It's not. I mean, it may be great, but they have problems. Yeah. Everybody has problems. And there's things that you don't know about going on. So I would say, if you're going through a wave, you think it's never going to end, it will definitely end. Mm-hmm. But you can potentially help speed it up or make it better by asking God what you should do and doing your best to do that. Definitely pray about it.
Yeah, good. I love that. And one thing I always like to ask everyone who comes on here, do you have like a favorite book in the Bible or person in the Bible that you feel like you relate to?
That I relate to?
Or
Ooh.
that you just connect with?
Well, this is not going to be a very flattering on my end, but I would say Peter, the Apostle Peter.
Okay.
Because, and why I say that is because, you know, throughout my life, I have turned my back on God and I have, you know, not gone to him, and I wouldn't say rejected, like rebuked his name, but I have definitely, like, you know, known I could go to God or maybe go to a person of God for advice or help and not. And it reminds me of how Peter, you know, denied Jesus at the end.
And he knew he was going to.
Yeah, and not only that, but he actually was in the presence of the physical human being, Jesus.
Yeah.
And he still didn't do it. So,
dang, Peter.
yeah, come on, Peter. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I guess favorite book, Luke. I like the book of Luke because it's got a lot of stories about Jesus.
Yeah.
And a lot of bangers, you know, like him walking through the desert for 40 days and Satan's like, yo, let me give you the whole world. And Jesus is like, please, this world's already mine, son. You just renting it. I like the book of Luke, and he's casting out demons and stuff. And they're like, oh, Jesus, heal me. And he's like, I can only heal so many of you guys. Oh, there's another thing I was talking about the book of Luke with my group. And one thing I found interesting about Jesus was that even though he was, I mean, he's God, he's a portion of God, he's one of the three. He was God, but he was put into a man's body. So, like, if you really think about that, it's really trippy to even try to wrap your head around. But the reason why I bring that up is because there's a portion where he was healing people in the book of Luke. And it said that Jesus would frequently have to kind of get away and go pray in the garden because I'm thinking, like, well, if he could just heal people, why wouldn't he just be standing out 24/7 just touching people, healing? And it's because he was a man, so he would get overwhelmed and tired, and you know, he's like, oh, I got to go talk to my dad about this, and then he would go off and pray. So that was just something like kind of cool that I thought.
That's
like,
cool. I've never even actually thought about that.
You know,
that is true.
He was a man. He was God, and he
experienced everything we experienced.
He experienced all the temptations and sensations that come with being a physical human being. Yeah. But while being God, I don't know. It's very trippy. It's hard. About. Yeah, it's hard to really wrap your mind around.
Because it's like you have all the capabilities, but at the same time, I feel like he didn't because God wanted him to experience being human.
It was literally limitless power that was limited because it was put into a mortal body. Yeah. Right. I mean,
that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, do you have anything else that you want to share with anyone before you leave today?
No, this has been really fun. I feel like it's just been a lot of my tangents.
No, but it was all like so helpful. I mean, you talked about your waves, you talked about like your relationship with God, and then how to get through waves with God. I mean, this is all stuff that people go through.
Yeah, and listen, you know, everybody, including myself, every day it's a battle for me.
Yeah.
I'm by no means a perfect Christian. I sin every single day. And so, you know, I really would like to just emphasize, like, if you're struggling, if you're listening and you're struggling, which most people are, I don't know anybody that's just like, I got it all figured out, pal. I don't know how you guys aren't doing this. Are you kidding me? Me and God have tea and crumpets every day, bro. Don't lose faith and keep trying to surround yourself with other people who are trying to do the same thing. Because, like, going back to my ways, one of the big mistakes I made was who I surrounded myself with, and that manifested in not so great ways. So if you do the opposite and surround yourself with good people and people who are, you know, going through similar things, then I think good things will come of it. This is one of those things. I never thought I'd be on a Christian podcast, but it's funny how God works like that.
Right?
And you know. Yeah, from the gym, from working out, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a youth group." I'm like, "Oh what? No way." So yeah, and one more thing before we go that I just thought was cool. Recently, like, a lot of things, especially spiritually, have been like lining up to meaning like God's been showing me that He's working in my life in interesting ways. And I told my father, my earthly father, that I was going to be coming on this podcast because I didn't tell really anybody, but I wanted to tell him because I had to tell somebody. And he was like, "Oh, that's so great, man." He's like, "You know, once God starts to move, it really, like, it's like the snowball effect." And then here's something crazy. I went to the gym right after that to Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
I'm on the Smiths machine doing my shoulder press, And this guy out of nowhere comes up, and he did not dress like he should be at the gym. He was a younger guy, bleach blonde hair, blue collared shirt, and he walks up to me and he hands me a card and he says, "Hey, great set, man. Here you go. Wanted you to have this. Keep it up." And it was a card, and it said like Jesus loves you. And then I flipped it around on the back. I meant to bring it. It was in my wallet, but
What?
yeah, it was super weird, and not in a bad way. Not weird in a bad way. It was just super strange. And my dad just said, once God starts to show up in your life, it like gets more and more as it goes on. And then that happened,
That's
and
great.
it wasn't even like for a church or anything. It was just purely a card that said Jesus loves you, with like, some kids playing on the beach or something. And then I looked around and he was gone. Like,
Dude,
I couldn't find the guy.
I've had people tell me about this. I think that these are angels. Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Two
I'm
people.
like, angel?
Okay, now I gotta share two stories that are very similar to that. My dad, when he was younger, I guess him and my mom were going through kind of a rough time. He saw this guy, completely white hair, thought he was homeless one time at a gas station, and he comes up to him and he goes to my dad and he goes, "Will you help me?" So my dad gives him money. He like just disappears, goes away. My dad says it was the craziest thing. He saw him like miles and miles away, like a couple weeks later. Not even like close in time, just like weeks later. He's the same guy, but this time he's like all dressed in white. It's so weird. Comes up to my dad again and goes, "Would you help me?" And my dad's like, "Well, sure, man." Like tries to give him money again. And he goes, "No, I don't like want your money." Like, well, I don't know if he said, "I don't want your money," but he says, "No, be good to your wife." And then walked away. And my dad said he like
Wow.
completely disappeared. Same thing. And then JR's mom told me a story the other day, which was really crazy, that when he was a baby, she had him and his brother. They were coming back from a park. JR was all dirty, all ratchet. And she threw him in the tub upstairs, went back outside and grabbed Luke, and somehow the door locked and the tub was like filling up. She was freaking out, calling 911, not knowing what to do. Like she was like in her head, like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how to get in my house. Like my baby is going to drown." And she tells the story better. But anyways, long story short, this guy shows up in this truck that says Guardian, like a random average Joe, she says. And she's like waving him down, because she said she was praying throughout this time. And God was like, "It's okay. Like it'll all be okay." Waves this random average Joe guy down and it's like, please help me. My baby's in the house. Like he's gonna blah, 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 freaking out. She said this guy comes and it's like, you guys can't see the door here, but it's like a slider door, rips off the door, like rips it off completely. And she runs up and like JR was just sitting there. She said it was almost like he was frozen and he had like the water like up to here.
Yeah.
And she said she ran up and grabbed him and then went back down to get Luke. And the guy was gone, completely disappeared. And the side of his truck said Guardian.
See, that's how I know God has a great sense of humor, because he's like, not only am I going to send someone, watch this little touch. And he does that, stuff
Is
like
that
that.
crazy,
It
though?
is. It is. I love stories like
Like
that.
I've heard so many like random things. And I kind of had something similar happen with a homeless guy. He never talked to me, but like I bought him food one day and like it was in a really weird spot. And then I ended up seeing him like 2 weeks later, like really far away. And then that time, like he didn't ask me for anything. I just saw him and then he like disappeared. Weirdest thing. But I think there are like angels that God.
Oh, definitely. It says in the Bible that, angels can take the form of men and they can come down. And
Yeah.
so you never know.
So I think that was an angel.
It could have
movie.
been.
That's
It could have
crazy.
been.
That just goes to show I feel like you're on the right track.
I'm
You know?
trying. Definitely trying.
That's awesome. So I'm going to have you grab a sticky
Okay.
and go ahead and write an affirmation and stick it on the wall. We're going to move it, though, because Ronald will eat it. And for those of you who don't know who Ronald is, he's our dog. Tim's thinking. Our child, yeah. Anything you want it to be. Anything in the world. JR put nice hair. Whatever you want people to feel. I still feel like I sound a little congested. I swear I'm not sick though, Tim.
Yeah.
He's writing. This one's going to be good. This one's going to be good. Okay. Tell everyone what it says.
It says, it's never too late to start. And I drew a little cross.
Oh,
All right. Is that positive enough for
I
you?
love that. That's
There we go. Don't eat it, doggy.
It's okay. If he does, I'll just fake rewrite it.
Yep.
Nice hair. Never too late to start. Love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This was great.
This
and
was.
like you said, like God just works. We met at the gym and
He be
here we
working.
are. So
Here we are.
thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being on Tim, and we will catch you next time. Bye.